Today, you're about to see one of the most insane recycling processes ever. It all starts with loader rickshaws arriving, fully loaded with scrap metal, old, broken, rusty parts, completely useless for most people. They unload everything on the ground, and the real work begins. First, the workers inspect the scrap: twisted metal, cracked rims, and completely worn-out parts. Without any machines, they grab heavy hammers and start breaking it down. Each strike is full force. Loud, sharp impacts echo across the workshop. After the scrap is broken into small pieces, a loader rickshaw arrives carrying old oil drums. These drums are filled with thick, black, dirty waste oil, collected from vehicles during oil changes. Instead of throwing it away, they reuse this oil as fuel for the furnace. The workers quickly unload oil drum. This dirty oil will soon be used to ignite and maintain the high heat needed for melting the metal. Now they transfer the oil step by step. First, the workers take oil from the big drum and pour it into smaller containers, gallons, so it becomes easier to handle. Then, using these small gallons, they carefully pour the oil into a final storage drum. This final drum is directly connected to the furnace through a pipe system. From here, the dirty oil flows continuously into the furnace, providing the fuel needed to generate extreme heat for melting the metal. As you're watching this, you might think these workers must be earning a good amount of money. After all, they are working in extreme conditions. No safety equipment, no modern technology, no proper facilities. Everything is done manually, under the open sky, right next to a blazing furnace. The heat is intense, the air is filled with smoke and dust, and their clothes are soaked with oil and sweat. This is not a high-tech factory in Europe or America. This is a raw, ground-level operation in Asia, where survival matters more than safety standards. Despite all this hard and risky work, the reality is harsh. These laborers earn only around $5 per day. They continue working like this every single day, not because it's easy, but because it's their only way to make a living. They ignite the furnace, and instantly, thick black smoke rises into the clear blue sky. You might care about the environment, using paper straws, trying to stay eco-friendly. But here, that's not possible. They have no advanced systems, no filters. Only one goal: keep the cost low. Because this is the only way they can produce affordable truck wheel rims. If they worked like modern factories, no buyer here could afford to buy them. After heating the furnace on the first, they begin feeding it with small pieces of scrap metal. Piece by piece, the old, dirty metal is thrown inside. Now the real process begins. Slowly, the scrap starts to melt under extreme heat. This is not a quick job. It takes around 2 to 3 hours to fully melt the metal. To feed the furnace with oil, they use a powerful suction motor. On one side, dirty waste oil flows in. On the other side, air is pushed in at low pressure. When oil mixes with air, it turns into a high-pressure spray. This spray is fired directly into the furnace. Once ignited, it keeps burning continuously, like a constant shower of fuel. This intense flame builds the heat needed to melt solid iron into liquid metal. Once the iron is fully melted, they stop the furnace and slowly rotate it. Now comes an important step. Using a long steel rod, they begin removing impurities from the molten metal. You might wonder, what impurities? Remember, this scrap was never cleaned. All kinds of dirt, rust, and waste went straight into the furnace. Now, all that unwanted material rises to the surface, and they manually pull it out. They manually pour the molten iron into the crucible very carefully. But timing is critical here. If they take too long, the metal starts losing heat and doesn't flow properly into the truck rim molds. When that happens, the wheels may not meet standard quality. They can become weak, poorly shaped, and may even break early. In this process, precision and timing are everything. There is no insurance coverage for these workers, and safety systems are very limited. In many small workshops across parts of South Asia, Formal worker protection is still not common. These workers are handling molten iron at temperatures above 1000 degrees Celsius, yet most of them wear only simple shoes and basic clothing. If anything goes wrong, the consequences can last a lifetime. Still, they continue this work every day, relying on experience, caution, and faith because for them, this is survival. Now the pouring process is complete. After some time, the molten iron begins to cool and solidify inside the molds. Once the metal gains strength, the workers remove the freshly formed truck rims. Even then, they are still extremely hot as they move from the mold into open air. After that, the rims are left outside for further cooling, preparing them for the next stage, coating and finishing. If you truly want to meet these real-life heroes, just leave a comment. These are not actors or machines. These are hardworking people. And this is my country, I know them. I've seen their work closely. Every day, they face extreme heat, risk, and harsh conditions, yet they continue without complaint. What they create with their hands is not just metal, it's strength, survival, and pure dedication. If you respect their hard work, let me know in the comments. Your support means more than you think. Now they remove the sand from the newly made piece, step by step. Then they place it a little away from the sand and leave it to cool down. As you can see, these workers may not have formal technical education, but their skills are truly impressive. They have learned this craft through years of hands-on experience, working side by side with senior workers and mentors. In many areas, there are limited training institutes or formal facilities where such skills are taught. Because of this, most workers rely on practical learning rather than classroom education. They observe, practice, and improve every day, slowly mastering each step of the process. This knowledge is passed down from one generation to another, almost like a tradition. Despite the tough working conditions, they continue to perform complex tasks with confidence and precision. Their hard work, experience, and dedication are what make this entire process possible. Now the next day, as you can see, they start hammering the wheel rim to remove the stuck sand. They carefully break off all the remaining sand from the surface. After that, the rim is rolled toward a nearby lathe machine. You can see the same workers are also operating the lathe. They are skilled in the complete process, from raw scrap to the final product. Now the next day, as you can see, they start hammering the wheel rim to remove the stuck sand. They carefully break off all the remaining sand from the surface. After that, the rim is rolled toward a nearby lathe machine. You can see the same workers are also operating the lathe. They are skilled in the complete process, from raw scrap to the final product. The work continues for many hours until the final product is completed. Each step requires time, effort, and careful finishing to achieve the desired shape and quality. These small workshops usually do not produce wheel rims without an order. Production only starts when a customer places an order, and in most cases, the customer is a local shopkeeper. After receiving the order and advance payment, they begin the process. They collect scrap metal, arrange dirty oil for the furnace, and prepare everything needed for production. Only then does the manufacturing process begin. This method helps them reduce risk and avoid unnecessary costs, because they only produce what is already sold. Now the question is, should we call these places factories? In reality, these are more like small workshops rather than large factories. They may not have advanced machines or modern systems, but they are still producing real, usable products. So even though they are small and simple, their work is valuable and important. They play a big role in recycling and local manufacturing. This step is called bolt hole drilling, where precise holes are made in the truck wheel rim for proper fitting on the hub. This step is called bolt hole drilling, where precise holes are made in the truck wheel rim for proper fitting on the hub.